Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paper Movies. I'm your host, Jeremy at Stupid Chainsaw Productions. Oh, I fucked that up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Paper Movies. I'm your host, Jeremy at Stupid Chainsaw Productions, and with me today is Adam from Bryant's Nerd Pub,
Hello.
Noah at the Quality Autism Channel,
Hi, guys.
and lastly, the drunk himself, Matthew the Geeks Addict.
That is false.
That is pretty accurate. Look at actually, no one can look at the legendary Star Wars Legends podcast number 33 that we re-recorded. Someone got way too drunk in that.
Someone.
Oh. Like an Egyptian. Hello, we're talking about one of a novelization based off of one of the worst cinematic experiences I've ever had in my life, The Predator.
Yep. The Predator, written by Christopher Golden and Mark Morris. So it was a two-person job to write this novelization.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was a two-person job.
Well,
Because
it's
I
also
don't trust a certain someone to write things correctly.
It was based on a screenplay written by Fred Decker and Shane Black, based on the characters created by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, directed by Shane Black. So it's funny that Pears worked on this, like all the way through.
Yeah, and it still turned out to be a pile of trash. All right. And the synopsis goes to Adam.
Nope.
Yes.
I did it last time.
It's your turn. It's your
Is it my turn? Okay, so Predator or Yautja, if it's like normal Predator stuff, but instead they've decided to call them Predators for lazy reasons because Shane Black. Anyway, crash lands on Earth, and a sniper comes across the crash ship, ends up stealing some technology. The Predator is captured by, oh God, I don't even remember what the organization was called, and I just talked about this yesterday.
Stargazer?
Stargazer, and which is run by like the CIA. They bring in a scientist. Predator escapes. All hell breaks loose. The sniper is arrested, and he's thrown in a bus full of crazy army people. They even decide to hunt the Predator because it's going after the sniper's son. And then there's another Predator, which is the upgrade Predator, that's hunting down the original Predator. And then it gets crazier from there. That's a synopsis of The Predator, because this plot is just dumb.
So I will add, though, that this is my introduction to anything regarding the Predator. I had not seen the movies or read any of the other books or comics before this.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. I wouldn't pick this.
I will say I was surprised how easily I got through it. I wasn't like necessarily bored with it because I guess, even though I didn't think it was that great, but still I was like, okay, this is new to me, so I was more invested into it. But it was definitely an interesting introduction.
All right.
Yeah, this is the first Predator novel that I ever read. I do have the original novelization, never read it. The only films that I've watched are Predator and Predator 2, and then just recently we did a watch along on your channel, Jeremy, the Predators. That was awful. So when I read this book for the first time, when it came out, I did a review on it. I gave it a C or a C- or something.
Yeah, you were very nice to this
I
book.
wasn't too impressed, but the first time I read the book, I was like, meh, it's all right. Second time through, did not get any better. Got worse, to be honest with you. There are some pathetic lines in this book that are just so silly and stupid.
Oh, yeah. Those lines, and I know what you're talking about, too, are stuff that's from the movie. A lot of the dialogue is changed. A lot of the terrible jokes in the movie are removed
Okay.
in this book. some very tacky, there's no other word for it. It's tasteless and tacky jokes that are very Shane Black-esque. It's like his comments on the female anatomy in the first movie because he's the guy in the glasses.
Oh yeah, okay.
When they find his entrails on the ground.
I thought
the one bad effect from the original movie.
I think the line that's for some reason stood out to me was because I thought it was humorous was where they were comparing the Predator, like the Predator style, to Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh yeah,
that's from the movie. Yeah,
you think that these actors that like Whoopi Goldberg, you think she ever heard about that, like her being compared to the Predator?
I don't think she cared.
Yeah,
this movie I think bombed.
I think it did too.
Yes.
Quality hates it, I think, slightly more than I do, and he's not seen the movie.
Not in its entirety. Okay, this book is the worst thing I have ever read in my entire life.
Wow.
Oh.
And I mean it.
How can you say that in a world where Gambit, Stealth, and Siege exists?
Okay, Stealth and Siege is just boring. Okay? This was so dumb. So stupid. It was insulting.
It is insulting.
I do have to say the beginning was pretty good for me. The intro, you got McKenna, the sniper, who's out there trying to take out, I'm guessing, what was it, like a cartel?
Yeah, they were trying to rescue hostages.
Yeah, and then you have the ship crashes. That was all fine and dandy, and then it got weird.
It doesn't flow like a Predator story. In fact, my biggest problem, well, besides the whole use of autism, that's the worst part of the movie because it's obviously written by people who have never really been around people with developmental disabilities, which is part of my job. And I've always found this part, it's more offensive in the movie. I think Mark Morris I call him a miracle worker. Because James A. Moore wrote the prequel to this called Hunters and Hunted, which is really, really boring. Well, James A. Moore and Mark Morris wrote the book that just came out this year, Predator Stalking Shadows. It is one of the best books I've read this year. That came out this year. It's one of the best. I'm going to probably put it as my number one best book of the year. It was really good, and in this, like I've read stuff that Christopher Golden's written, and I find his writing to be very mediocre. But Mark Morris, I think he just is like brought in like, we have this boring book. Can you spice it up a bit? And he does. He makes it more passable. They take out a lot of the terrible Shane Black dialogue. There's a whole thing in the movie we'll get to about that Shane Black's trying to one-up his female anatomy jokes by having one of the guys has Tourette's, which they don't talk about in this, thankfully. And he keeps saying, like, eat her, you know what? I'm trying to not do this on paper movies and swear, though I already did.
I was wondering, where's the police? Can you hear?
They're chasing a predator down the street.
I was gonna say, it's not in my apartment complex.
So I wanted to ask about the Tourette guy. Is his character even in this? Because I know that he's in the movie, but
he's the one that's thrown up in the tree and impaled.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Baxley, who was played by Thomas Jane in the movie. Which, when they said Thomas Jane's going to be in this new Predator movie, I assume they gave him the lead.
They should have.
Thomas Jane is lead man material. We're getting into the movie a little bit here. The guy they got, he's a fine actor, but he's not lead material, in my opinion. But then again, neither was Adrian Brody in Predators. But they roided him. They roided him up, and he didn't look malnourished for once. And he decided to put on his Steven Seagal voice. Kind of worked in that terrible movie where no one cared that was in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, like like I was saying earlier, like starting off when I read this book, I got through it okay, and I was surprised that I did, having no introduction to the Predator. But it's like after we did the other watch-alongs, like on your channel, Jeremy, I was just like, wow, like this was so much better than what I read. Like, because I mean,
Predator's awesome, and Predator 2 is pretty good as well.
And then we got the Predators, which was, not.
It was bland. But if you've seen Alien versus Predator Requiem, it's a masterpiece in comparison.
But I think the only thing that I liked about the book, like the most, was like the introduction to the upgrade. And I haven't seen the movie yet, so I mean that opinion may change. But
this is the thing that drove me crazy about it, because we calling it the upgrade, they called it the upgrade a lot in the book, which I found really annoying. I mean, the Project Stargazer, cool name. I mean,
it was a dumb organization.
The guy, the villain, Traeger, was a horrible villain.
Oh yeah.
He tries to start off, in the book. Like, I imagine that. I don't know what the TV show was, but there's like the guy that always like takes his glasses off real quick and like looks to the side.
CSI Miami.
This is what I envision this guy like. Every time he steps off his helicopter, he just like yanks off sunglasses, and just kind of like looks around like he's so cool.
He never looks at you directly,
right?
Yeah, you the corner of his eye. And one-liners.
Yeah, he's
and he's chewing Nicorette gum.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have any of you ever chewed Nicorette gum?
No.
It will make you. If you chew that much Nicorette gum, you'd be throwing up.
So it's like the gum of the Predator, the gumization of the Predator.
The
gumization. Oh man! But I wanted to talk about a couple things that are different from the movie that I noticed. The first being that in the book they Baxley and Nettles, which would be, oh gosh, which one of Kay and Peele is in The Predator?
Yeah, the tall one.
The tall Key. And Thomas Jane steal a Victoria's Secret helicopter, which they do not. They steal a helicopter in the movie, but it's not a Victoria's Secret one. Probably because that was written in the script, and they couldn't actually get
the rights.
Victoria's Secret to like have anything to do with their movie.
I thought that was a really stupid scene in the book.
When the female scientist is introduced, there is a scene where she talks to that guy in the dog park. That was in the movie, but the guy she talks to was part of the whole Me Too thing.
He was an actual predator.
Being a pervert.
Yeah.
And they cut that scene last minute from the movie. By the way, a lot of the movie was reshoots.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Really?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, they had to reshoot a good chunk of it because there's like a whole scene where a predator is on a tank that's not in the movie.
It's a bunch of predators. I think they were supposed to team up with the humans.
So basically, they got the Solo and Justice League treatment. The Predator did.
Oh yeah, and Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, that too.
What's also different, the ending of the movie, and I think the
entire. Oh God, yeah, there's that weird epilogue thing in the movie. We'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get that in the next video.
So stupid. I was so thankful that was not in the book.
And I have a question. Maybe you remember it. The reason why the original Predator even came to Earth, is it explained in this book?
It's not explained in the book. It is explained in the movie, which is a weird reversal. Usually things like that are explained in the novelization.
Yeah, going deeper into lore and like backstory stuff. Thoughts. I mean, I wanted to say real quick too about the cover. Like I used to like the cover. I thought it was cool. I liked the orange, just like it looked like a vintage.
Yeah, it's a decent
poster.
Cover.
The problem that I have with it now that I look at it after reading it a second time, catching new things, they said that the Predator. Okay, we're spoiling everything because this is paper movies. It says the Predator gets its spine. I mean, its neck is completely.
Oh yeah, it's completely beheaded. That's
so.
Right.
In this photo, we've got a Predator with its spine attached, which looks just like a human spine, which kind of stupid.
You know, honestly, when I checked out that book on my Overdrive app, I didn't pay much attention to the cover, and I just assumed that it was the Predator just holding his helmet. And then they mentioned the upgrade. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Then when you see the hand,
Yeah, or
Pretty
like the
big.
spine hanging.
yeah, it's pretty big. But I mean, I didn't like really much about this story. McKenna, he's a horrible father.
Oh yeah.
Um, one of the dumbest lines that I thought was whenever, I think her name is Casey, right? The scientist.
Oh yeah.
She's like, "Can I cuss?"
DC Brackett.
She says, "Can I cuss in front of your kid?" And he's like, "No, but I can." And he like drops the F-bomb. Like, what sense does that
from the
make?
movie.
I mean, I thought that was just a stupid line. It's like, no,
Also,
you
you have
can't.
to also understand that the female scientist, she's a terrible actress in the movie.
Great.
Yeah, you're forewarned. I'm basically, this paper movies is a warning for the film we're about to watch.
No, those were her dogs, right? She had the dogs.
Yeah.
So we never followed up with what happened to those dogs.
No,
did
there's
we?
a lot of things we don't follow up with. We also don't follow up with what happened to McKenna's wife, ex-wife.
Oh, that's true. I was thinking about that. And when I finished the book, I was like, wait a second, because they're like, well, what do we do next? He like points up at the stars and he's like, oh, don't come back here again, you bastard, or something like that. And I'm thinking like, well, son, we need to go home and talk to your mother. Nope. Just stops.
That was
So-
jarring.
Yeah.
The way the book just ends.
Hmm.
It's
Because-
better than how the movie ends.
And there's also another line. I'm focusing on the lines in this one. When like the whole climax is happening, McKenna's, I guess, about to drop into the spaceship and just start shooting. And he tells his son, he's like, remember when I told you that you need to grow up? Well, ignore that and duck.
What? Yeah, that's
What?
true. There's so many
What?
weird masculine lines in this that are just stupid.
Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. Did you like when one of the loonies, because they're all called the loonies, they
The
lose
loonies.
visuality once they're named the loonies for the most part?
Mhm.
I think the one guy gets his legs chopped off, just falls to his death.
Okay, I have a question, and I only ask because I remember it from the book and then from the first movie. Can the predators talk, or can they just like, or do they just like mimic sound?
Mimicking. Like
They mimic.
Mockingjay.
Okay, because like,
I mean, okay, so if we're talking all Predator lore, in Tim Levin's Rage War trilogy, they I'm gonna have to spoil because the whole plot of the Rage War is there's this group of people that left the known galaxy and they found a way to weaponize the xenomorphs, and they have genetic hybrid xenomorphs that can suicide bomb.
oh, okay,
So the predators, the Yautja or the Yautja, depending on who says it, they go into the humans' territory of space in an attempt to regroup, and they end up teaming up with the humans and starting a counteroffensive against this sect of evil scientists and xenomorphs. And they communicate because the several scientists figure out certain parts of the dialect of the predator language, and the predators kind of understand human language, but it's hard for them to speak it, and so they have a device that they speak between the two, which is kind of shown in this, but in the stupid way.
well, yeah, I was asking because I remember watching the first film after reading it, and I remember that one predator at the end laughing. And but then I remember reading from the book, like the upgrade was like speaking to them like through like a machine, and he was like saying, "I'm coming for you." And I'm just like, I thought they could somewhat, but you know, they
Well,
could
I
somewhat.
mean, this is the upgrade. This is like the genetically 12-foot tall enhanced predator.
Yeah, because of human DNA.
DNA in it for no reason. That's another thing I don't like about this.
I mean, what
Because-
sense does that make? Oh, it has human DNA, so it's what?
That's why it's taking Rory, the little kid's DNA, because of his autism.
Oh, yeah, to
It's
enhance
super
them.
autism.
Super.
Which
Yeah.
you see more of in the movie, and it's dumb.
What was the whole thing in the beginning when he's talking? The bullies are like talking about his Asperger's.
Oh yeah, they want to eat an ass burger. Which
Yeah.
no bully would ever say. Ever.
I thought that was dumb.
Oh yeah, it was. That's from the movie. But like, I like though in this that they say that they mention that Asperger's really isn't considered part of the like a specific diagnosis anymore. Everything's part of the spectrum. That was a nice touch. That was almost an apology.
Before we get through this, I just want to apologize.
It's almost.
Yeah.
And written, the novelization's written by slightly smarter people, but like probably significantly smarter people than who wrote the screenplay.
You know, one of the most tacky lines that just hit me whenever he's in Mexico, right? And that's when the spaceship crashes. Mexico, right?
Yes, because they're dealing with the cartel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes into the bar afterwards. He just gets to a bar, and he asks these thugs. He's like, "Do you know what my favorite cereal is?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Snap, crackle, pop." Like, what? That's not the name of the cereal, buddy. It's so stupid. Full of cheesy crap.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I would definitely have to re-rank this book.
Oh yeah,
Do
it's
another
kind of
follow-up
embarrassing. I will say this though, in the book's favor, it references predators, which not a lot of things do.
Did it?
Yes, they talk about people being kidnapped by these, by the predators.
I missed that.
It's a one-off line in there, but they reference all the previous 3 films, which is nice. That was Shane Black. That was one of his goals, was to try to tie the films all together.
But can we talk about these references? Because they are terrible. Like, get to the chopper.
Oh yeah, get to the choppers. Yeah, it's all this one-up. I mean, in the movie, there's the they try to one-up the female anatomy joke, which I won't even say on paper movies.
Yeah, they were bad. They were stupid. Like, I don't know who the most annoying character was, to be honest.
All
The
of them.
scientist lady.
Scientist lady.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
she's got this.
Remember when she shot herself in the foot?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when all the loonies made like a shrine for her?
Yes,
Oh.
that was creepy.
Crap.
That was creepy.
Yeah,
Made her- one
What?
of them made her a unicorn or something.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a reference to Blade Runner.
Ah.
Genius.
Yeah.
It means something now.
I was like,
You know, in the director's cut of The Predator, she had a dream about a unicorn.
That's
It
right.
was taken from Legend,
Predator. Oh man.
the Blade Runner Final Cut show.
What's funny too at the end, like all those little trinkets, they just buried them. Like, oh, this
That's
we don't-
true.
we don't need this crap. Let's just bury it.
This is how we forget. We remember the forgotten ones.
We'll remember them by burying the crap they gave us in the woods.
How
What
did
do they have left to bury? Maybe they'd find the top half of the one guy, and then they have to climb up the trees to get Thomas Jane out of it.
Yeah.
And then whatever the other guy was impaled on the tree on the ground.
You know, and there's things I forgot too. Whatever happened to the dog that they lobotomized?
Oh,
The
it blew
predator
up.
dog.
Pretty
Is it-
sure it got eviscerated.
Did it? Okay.
Oh yeah, the Predator dogs look stupid in this. They don't look like the ones in Predators. They have literal like Predator heads on dog bodies.
I was gonna ask, like, what part of like reading this did each of you just like reach that point where you're just like, oh my god?
The
Can I
first
start?
chapter.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it. Go for it.
Not a certain chapter, but I would say from the very beginning. But there's one line in particular where I just leaned back and I said, wow, I hate this. It's the line, autism is the next step in human evolution.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in this book, it's an absolute superpower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is a scene. Rory comes home, and we see he has a bunch of books lying around, and they say after school he learns German, Russian, French, Dutch,
Yeah, he's got all these languages.
all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have it in the book that he picks up all the chess pieces
Yes.
and arranges them the way
Puts
they
them all
were?
exactly how they were. Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know. Once the whole thing with the bullies is where I really check out, but I was checked out before then. You know, I start to check out in the Mexico scene when he swallows the invisible
Yeah.
spear, and then he has to poop it out later.
Yeah.
Which that's supposed to be funny, and it really isn't. Also, he what was it? He and Nebraska get the crap kicked out of them, and then they're fine.
Mm-hmm. Of course they are. Yeah.
They get beaten, and they obviously have internal bleeding.
Yeah, I remember that line he said when he gets he's like getting kicked in the stomach when he's in that barn or whatever. He's like, I coughed up blood. That's definitely not good. And then he's like up running around shooting guns. You're like,
It's like in Prometheus when that woman gives birth to the squid baby via C-section, and then she's running around just fine with staples in her abdomen like 10 minutes later.
like nothing ever happened.
Not only that, she falls after
Yeah.
having the C-section, like on her stomach.
Stomach.
Yeah. Ugh. Prometheus. What a terrible film.
Yeah. Well, this was the last Predator movie.
I thought you were going to say this is the last Paper movies.
The Predator killed it.
I don't know. There are worse things out there we could be reading.
There are.
I was gonna say
But
like
you don't make us read.
I don't know.
Maybe as a revenge against you, I recommend we read Die Another Day.
You know what? I was actually thinking about reading all the Pierce Brosnan. Die Another Day has an unabridged audiobook. I could listen to it. It's on Audible.
I feel like quality was like, no, you have to read the whole thing. It's like I read this book, you read the whole thing.
So I do have a question to stay on track here.
Yeah,
This
sorry.
upgrade. Oh, you guys are good. The upgrade. Now, is that going to be a whole race of predators?
I hope not. I hope they forget this happened.
You know, I was gonna say I was noticing something like as we were watching the other movies. It's like the predators are kind of like the monsters from the Tremors series. They just keep evolving or upgrading in a way.
Well,
Yeah.
the whole thing with the Predator culture until this, when they gave them a different reason for hunting, they hunted all over the galaxy. All over the universe. They had interstellar travel, and they would update their technology for the hunt if they were bested.
Hmm.
I mean, every Predator movie, even beyond that, the comics and novels, they're always trying to be better hunters. That's their point. It's
Okay.
not because for some reason they decided they're going to be better hunters by collecting people's DNA.
How does having autism help you hunt anything?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Just I don't know. I honestly don't really know how the whole autism thing works either. Like I don't know much about it. I haven't studied it, but
You
this
don't
book.
need to know much.
I mean, the book tells me that it's like picture perfect memory, and the kid knows everything.
I mean, okay, so autism is a gigantic spectrum of things. And it's honestly, you can get into it's debatable whether some people have autism or not. But it's a whole lot of things like with sensory things.
Well, I know that they're trying to diagnose every kid with it now.
Yeah, that's a topic not for Paper movies.
Yeah. Well, it's being thanks to the Predator for this, but you know.
Yeah, we don't need the Jeremy rant about diagnosis here. And I'm not talking about the Dick Van Dyke Show from the 90s.
Yeah, I
Adam gets
I wouldn't recommend reading this book to anybody.
Me neither.
I would recommend it if you are a completionist or Predator.
Okay, so would you recommend the book over the film?
Yes, it's more approachable.
Okay.
The film
would
is
disagree.
No, dude.
I didn't watch the movie, but
Oh
book.
no, you don't understand.
With
This
the
book
book,
is-
you can imagine these things. With the
No,
movie,
there are a lot
they feed
worse
it to
things
you.
in the movie.
This is going to be great.
Oh no, I didn't want to do this as a double feature, but you said this was the only time you were available, Matthew.
Yeah.
And I want you to suffer.
I do like how the book does. In the very back has other Predator book advertisements,
Well, yeah, it's Titan Books, so yeah, they're gonna do that.
which I've never noticed that before. Even
Oh yeah,
there's
Titan does that with everything.
there's an official fan app.
Wait, what?
Join the hunt
Oh
on
my!
Apple, iTunes, and Google Play.
Oh my!
So you guys,
God.
did you guys prepare for that one? You guys ready to talk about? Just kidding.
No, that's a whole separate podcast.
It's so tacky. You got the Predator holding the phone. I mean, the Predator is one of the coolest designs, in my opinion, for a monster.
Oh yeah,
Not-
and it's a cool culture and stuff.
Not for the guys behind the movies. They have to upgrade them, make them
That's
bigger, make them cooler.
Yeah,
Even more CG.
Yes.
they always lose sight of things. Yeah, it's what I liked about the whole story with like Jaws. Like you hardly ever see the monster. Everything's creepy. It's just it comes, it gets you, you're gone. The first Predator movie is kind of like the same, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You don't see it really. You don't see its face until the end.
Yeah, it's like the real threat is basically the sound effects or the music.
Mhm.
You know, like the clicking, or with Jaws, the bump 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 bump.
Yeah, or this like people just getting sucked up into a tree.
It's the same thing in Alien. It's the same thing in any first monster movie. You don't want to show the creature until about an hour in. Like almost exactly an hour in. That's the perfect pacing.
Yeah.
And in the sequels,
Well, no, you don't. By the time the sequels have happened, if you're going to have a sequel, everyone knows what it's going to be. Unless it's
Yes,
Tremors,
but-
where it becomes a completely different creature each time.
I did think it was funny. I think I remember them trying to describe what the predators looked like unmasked in the book. They call it like crab faced or something like that. Or
I mean, they didn't call it a. Oh God, I'm not going to say that on here.
When did they start?
Are we done?
Huh?
Are we done?
I was going to ask you a question about the Predator stuff. When in the timeline did they actually give the Predator the name Predator?
This.
This? Okay, because I just opened the random page.
No, they call them that in Hunters and Hunted, which happens right before this.
Okay, because I just opened a book to a random page and saw it says both by the grenade and the Predator dog. So it's
Yeah,
like
no,
they
they're
know
called
these.
Yautja typically. It's
They
like
have
how they
this-
don't call the alien, they call it a xenomorph.
Okay,
they have this terrible scene in here with the scientists and why they named it the Predator.
Oh yeah, that
Oh, that's not a
Oh, it's
predator,
a
that's a
yeah,
sports
it's-
hunter.
conversation.
again, it's good. It's kind of like the thing with Tremors. Like they're like graboids or shriekers or something like that.
Half blasters.
Yeah, I knew someone was gonna say that.
That's the best name ever. They knew that they didn't have anything for that third movie, so they had to give it a terrible name.
yeah.
So, I was just gonna ask, what overall grade or ranking would you give this? And we'll start with quality.
F or worse.
Well,
Waste of time. Don't read it. Just
Jeremy?
terrible.
2 out of 5 stars.
2 out of 5. Matthew?
so for my first review, when I did read it, I gave it a C or C minus, I think. I'm going to have to downgrade that to a D.
A D?
A D. Because I read it once. It was readable. It was like, oh, okay, whatever. Reading it a second time, not as fun, not as good.
So I kept my thoughts about Predator in general. I watched the other movies before I gave this one a ranking, and I'm only giving it a D minus for this reason. Not an F, because I was surprised at how able I was, being, like I said, like having no like experience with the Predator whatsoever, I was surprised I was able to like not lose, interest in it. But still, it wasn't great after watching, like all the other stuff. So that it's for that reason I'm giving it a D minus.
Did you say a D minus or a B minus?
D as
D
in dog.
minus.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to say, like to me, from chapters 0 is what they have. They have chapter 0, which should, I guess, be the prologue. From chapter 0 to chapter 2, I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. This is cool. And then when chapter 2 hits, that's when it starts to go down the tank. Yeah. That's when he gets into his car, or he winds up in Mexico at the bar. And that's just
yeah. And then he swallows the magical sphere and then poops it out later.
Yeah, I mean the concept, like the idea of him being like, oh, okay, well, stuff happened, people died, we need to find somebody to pin all these deaths on. Let's grab McKenna, make him crazy because aliens. Which that conversation was kind of funny to me, like on their bus when he's like, oh yeah, there's this alien, and the guy's like, yeah, aliens, kind of funny, dry, but kind of funny. But it was cool they had to pin it on somebody, and they just like, well, okay, don't believe him, because who's going to believe that? His story.
You know what? I read like
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
I read like 2 or 3 other books while trying to get through this. I reread Kenobi. It was great. And then I came back to The Predator. And
I could see you finishing Kenobi and then like reading like a few like sentences of The Predator and then just like picking up Kenobi again.
Yeah.
But one thing we have to address. I think it's fair to say all of us, we didn't like this book very much.
No.
It's not the fault of these 2 authors.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's the fault of Shane Black and whatever the other guy is called.
Fred Decker.
Which is probably also Shane Black. Anyway, no, that's why I gave it a 2 out of 5, because these authors, they didn't have a lot to work with, but they make it more approachable than that movie.
That's what I like about movie novelizations, because the author can always blame the screenwriters, like just like based on the screenplay.
Yeah. But I will say this: the prequel novelizations are incredible compared to the prequel movie.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, not to branch out into whole other conversations real quick, but Christy Golden wrote a prequel novel to the Warcraft movie. One of the coolest books that I've read.
Yeah, you get the right author in there. They can work wonders. Can you imagine? Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of someone. Can you imagine Terry Brooks writing this? Wrote The Phantom Menace. Can you imagine him writing? It would be so much better. Or
Waylon Drew.
Yeah.
With what he did with the Dragon Slayer novelization. I mean, he excelled past the film. You know what I mean? So it is possible to make the book way better than the film.
Alexander Freed. Alan Dean Foster, like I said.
James Caan. James Caan.
Let's not forget William Kotzwinkle.
Jerry Kotzwinkle the Third.
I'm only saying these things because I know he wrote an E.T. book, so he has some experience with extraterrestrial life. Anyway, sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah. I wasn't too happy with the book. I don't...
No, you weren't too happy with this book. What a shock. I mean, we have to understand this is penance for King of the Monsters, Adam.
I didn't...
Well, listen, I want to read the back of the novel, okay? The official movie novelization, The Predator.
Why are you dragging this out longer than it has to?
I just want to, because the last sentence in this doesn't make sense. For centuries, Earth has been visited by warlike creatures. They have... Forget it. Let's read the last sentence. An ex-soldier and disgruntled science teacher can prevent the end of the human race. So the human race was at stake in this novel?
Yes,
don't
but they
remember.
don't explain that in the novel. It's explained in the movie.
Okay, like I
Something
don't.
about global warming.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Global
They did
warming
that little
was so
political.
stupid they left it out of the book.
The movie is all about the global warming and weaponized autism.
That's right. That's right. I remember that now. And the ship's coming in. It's like, oh, things look different now. The glaciers have melted away, and you're like, okay.
Al Gore wrote this movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fine print. Yeah. Screenplay written by Al Gore.
This is actually
And Michael Moore.
novelization. This is an inconvenient truth.
Yeah. The inconvenient truth.
Inconvenient truth. And then it was also it was an advertisement for those energy efficient light bulbs that are full of mercury.
So just to narrow it down to all of our listeners, don't read this book.
Yeah.
Don't. Watch the original Predator movie.
So far,
And
this is
Predator
definitely-
2.
Yeah. So far, this is the worst of the paper movies that we've touched on.
Yes, this is the worst so far. But
Thank you,
And-
Jeremy.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say, Noah, tell us who we can thank for that one.
This guy, right?
I mean, I'll say this. I enjoyed reading The Predator more than King of the Monsters.
Really?
Yeah, I was so bored during King of the Monsters.
Hmm.
I wasn't bored during this. I was just embarrassed. I'm not sure which is worse.
Embarrassed and annoyed.
I was annoyed equally with both. I liked Noah better than the little girl in King of the Monsters. But that being said, the little girl was the best character of anyone in King of the Monsters.
Did you just say you liked me better? Do you mean the
Oh God,
autistic
I don't
kid?
remember who's the little kid's name.
Rory?
Rory. I don't.
Rory.
I'm sorry.
Because you saw quality autism and
Quality autism. Yeah.
I make a cameo in this.
Yeah.
What is in this book? The book would end. That's what would happen.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, breaking record on the time.
I quit.
Yeah.
I quit paper movies.
Can we just say for next time?
Yeah,
Because
what
I
will
have it
we read
here.
next, people?
Oh, yeah. For the month of August, we'll be reading Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, no.
Oh, hang on.
Everybody's got to grab their copy of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Come on,
Adam is taking his sweet time. Oh, there it is. He's got
King of the Monsters.
the big old fancy 3-in-1 book.
Yep.
I have water damage paperback that's the same as Matthew's.
Yep. This is written by Campbell Black.
I'm
I've
actually.
already. I'm halfway through the first chapter in this, and it's already significantly better than what we just read.
Okay.
I have read it a few weeks ago. Gonna read it again.
Nice. So yeah, everybody, get your copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can find it on eBay, pretty cheap. Used bookstores. Probably rent it from your library. But go ahead and get started just now for the month of August.
Yes. All right, and then hopefully next time we will have a sufficient list of what we're doing for the rest of the year for paper movies.
Yes.
We're
We've
gonna
almost
die another day.
sorted out.
We're going to add in Die Another Day. Yes. No,
I think we should. That'll be our Actually, no, that'll be January.
I could just see us reading it, and we're just be like, and then like Noah's just sitting there like,
Yes. It's gonna be my revenge.
I can see we're gonna end up doing Ghostbusters soon. But anyway, everyone, have a good evening. Join us in about 20 minutes as we jump into the Predator watch along.
Except me.
Because he's a
Well, thank you, Noah, over at Quality Autism for joining us in this episode of Paper Movies.
yeah, he was our first special guest. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry you had to be tortured with the Predator.
I'm not.
Yeah,
sorry at all.
you're not.
Well, hey, I guess I'm the only one that's actually read it twice, right?
I've read it twice.
Oh, you have read it twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's going to read it the third time?
No one.
Not,
No one
not,
here.
not me.
No one should read it the first time.
Before you read any book, Quality, you always need to read this first. It'll make everything better.
No, it won't. It won't make Aftermath better.
I think the Predator to Noah is what the Crystal Star is to Matthew.
I will read this again over the Crystal Star.
Ooh,
I
I
would
don't.
read Crystal Star 20 times before touching this again.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
Goodbye.
Oh, hold on. It's